Hello, I'm going to do a beer review on Troegnator Dopplebocks beer. And I'm going to try to keep this short. I get a little long-winded on some of these, I know. And so Troeg Brewery is in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is in southern Pennsylvania. Founded in 1996 by two brothers. Last name, I believe, is Troeg. They brew this Troegnator Dopplebocks. Troegnator. See, Bock beer started around 1400, thereabouts, in northern Germany, in a small town called Einbeck, and it was an ale when it originally started. And it became a lager around 1850 or so in Germany when lagers took off. Lager beer hasn't been around for a long time. I think it started in the mid-1800s when a German discovered how to lager beer and make a light beer that was good to drink. So lagers became popular in Germany, and they still are. And Bock beer and Doppelbock beer, this is a lager, and I think most of them are. Let's see if I can find an ale specimen of them. Now, I call these flower vase beer reviews because I found this beer glass, unique, hand-blown, on eBay. You know, I collect hand-blown glass. I always keep an eye out for it. And for beer mugs, it kind of got a little old where I wasn't really finding anything interesting. So I had the idea to look at flower vases, and lo and behold, there are all kinds of flower vases that need to be saved from being flower vases because they're really beer glasses. Like this specimen that I got pretty cheap. So flower vase beer review. Troegnator Dopplebocks. They say Doppelbock. It's usually called Doppelbock, one word, German for double bock. So they assumed marketing that people don't, want to read German or speak it to know that Doppel means double. So they just wrote it out in English, Doppelbock, which would mean it's an extra strength, not double strength, but an extra strength. This beer is 8.2% alcohol, which is pretty good strength for a Doppelbock, about where I wouldn't expect it any weaker than 8 or any stronger than 10. So 8.2 is about right, in my opinion. The IBUs, International Bitterness Units, which tells you how much hops is in this, is only 25. And for a beer with this much alcohol, 8.2, and a lot of grain went into this as well, malt. You'd expect more IBUs than 25. But this is a malty beer. That's the flavor profile of a Bock beer and a Doppelbock, is that it's going to be a malty beer. So we'll see. The malts that they use in this: chocolate malt, Vienna malt, and a 6-row barley, which is used in the making of lagers and pilsners. The chocolate malt is just barley that's been toasted brown like coffee beans. That's what it looks like. You just toast it. I've toasted it in the oven, and it adds flavor and color to the beer. And the beer doesn't actually come out brown so much. It'll give it an orange-red color. I say Vienna malt, Munich malt. There's chocolate malt, Munich malt, and Pilsner or lager 6-row barley. The Munich malt gives the beer flavor, a little bit of color, and it also gives it fuller body. And the 6-row lager malt, which is probably at least 90% of the grain bill for this, gives the beer all the alcohol and the beer. You can make beer with just one, with 6-row barley alone. But you add the other stuff, it's like spices. It's a recipe. So the chocolate malt does not ferment. I don't believe the Munich malt does, but I'm not sure. So this beer gets, that's what's in it. If I get back into brewing, I'll make some videos on that as well, and I'll explain the entire process. I've been brewing beer since 1980. I brewed my first batch in my kitchen sink. There's a story behind that as well. The malt, or the hops in this, is Magnum and Northern Brewer, which are traditional German hops, what they would call noble hops. They're an old line of hops, which is traditional for this type of beer, this style, a Doppelbock. The yeast in this is lager yeast. So, Bock beer, all right, real quick on that. Bock beer came from Einbach, Germany, but it's spelled Einbeck, E-I-N-B-E-C-K. It looks like Einbeck. But when they started brewing this beer in Munich, Germany, this is what I've read, with the southern German accent, Bavarian, they didn't say Einbeck, they said Einbach. Einbach. And Bock means billy goat. It means a few things in German. B-O-C-K, Bock means billy goat. So sometimes you'll see a billy goat on the label of Bock beers. They started making it double strength in the 1700s. German monks and monasteries brewed Bock beer for themselves, and they also sold it to support the monastery. The monks would go on a 40-day fast for Lent, and drinking beer was not considered breaking the fast. So they doubled up the strength of the beer, and so they had more. It has actually unfiltered. It would have been an ale then. It would have had a lot of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients in it. So that's how it became a double strength, a Doppelbock. Was from monks that were fasting 40 days, and they used to brew a bunch of double strength Bock beer. And it caught on as a popular beer, apparently, because they still make it to this day. And the Troegnator, the first beers that the German monks brewed reportedly was called Salvinator, which had something to do with the Savior, Jesus Christ. It was their Lent fasting beer that they would, they named the beer Salvinator, which I guess means Savior. So there's a long story behind it, but it came to be that these beers would be all named something ater. There's Celebrator, there's Extenuator, there's of any Doppelbocks, they always end with the ater. And here we have Troegnator. So enough on that. I'm going to get to the beer. Now I can tell you that this beer was in my freezer, almost froze, so it's pretty cold. The label here, as you can see, has this Norse-looking, long-haired, barbarian-looking man with horns coming out of his head. I had no idea why. And he's staring rather intently at what appears to be barley, which is the main ingredient, of course, in beer. And he's staring at it very lustfully, I would say, and he has horns on his head. So he's a horny barbarian who really loves his beer. I mean, I'm not making this up, all right? What do you think? It's a kind of a weird label. All right, so I'm expecting this to be a malty beer with strength. And this beer mug needs to be cleaned out a bit. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. I thought I got it, but apparently I did not get it that well. I'm very fussy about my glasses, as you could tell. I see thumbprints on this. I know I washed this very well, but not well enough. Very fussy about my glassware. Just, I don't do much. I work a lot. This is my night off, and I work 5 nights a week, and my job really wipes me out. I wind up sleeping all day, staying up all night when I'm not working. And I don't have energy for my other YouTube stuff. Really kind of has suffered from this night job, but I try to carry on. And little things like this mean something to me. Finding an unusual glass like this and showing it off to the world that really doesn't care at all. And I don't blame them. So here we are. It's now presentable. Let's have a look at this. Check this beer out. I know this is... Oh, man. All right. Smells like malt. Smells like bread, honestly. Smells like bread. I don't smell any hops at all in this. None. I smell malt. Yeasty, like fresh bread. Right out of the oven. It smells yeasty and malty. Not all entirely disagreeable. I mean, one of the things I do besides besides beer is I really struggle to make the best bread I possibly can, and I have for years. And you know, so I think it smells good. All right, let's have a look at this. Well, I made these candles too, the blue ones. I'm going to make some green ones for St. Patty's, which I'm going to bless you all with some music I've been working on. All right, it is very orange, coppery brownish orange. Whatever I'm seeing, you're seeing, because this camera does a very good job reproducing the colors. Except for some reason it doesn't get, when I wear a green jacket, it comes out looking black. Ooh, that's a good color. Yes, folks, that is a good color. I like that. Very clear. Obviously this beer has been filtered. I made this candle and put it in this little beer mug. Isn't it cute? All right, I'm going to put another beer in here. I'm going to dump another one in. Now, I don't see a lot of carbonation in this. And this style of beer should have some carbonation. So, I like the color a lot, but I'm not seeing any head or carbonation in it. But I suspect that could have something to do with this large glass I'm using. And for that reason, because I've used this glass before and I noticed the same thing, I'm going to do a little experiment and pour a little of this in another glass and see if it comes out looking foamier. Well, that is a beautiful beer. Honestly, served in this glass. Ooh, a very red, copper brown. I love the color to it. I love the color to it. Puppy, don't bother me on this. This dog is getting very demanding of me. I just gave him, he must have ate 3 pounds of food and a bunch of snacks, and he really... When he hears me talking, he doesn't know what I'm doing, and it makes him very angsty. Makes him anxious. Come on, puppy, leave me alone. Let me do this. All right, so it smells, like I said, it smells yeasty. I don't smell any hops at all in this. None. So that leaves taste. Oh, that's very good. It's very good. This is very good. Come on, dog, leave me alone. Yeah, come on. He does this anymore when I make videos. He doesn't leave me alone. Sorry. I'll make a video with you in it someday. I am very happy with this beer. It tastes really good. It tastes caramel. Caramel and malt. Oh. I don't taste the alcohol in it. I don't taste any hops. Though obviously there's 25 IBUs. Very good job balancing this by the brewery, because too much hops and you wouldn't be in a Bock style of beer, which is supposed to be a strong malty beer. So they kept the hops right, I think very well done. And it tastes like, hold on. It tastes good. It tastes like caramel, and there's definitely some CO2 in this. It stays in the beer with the burping here. It tastes like caramel and toffee, kind of a coffee caramel taste. A little bit of hops, bitterness, very little trace in the palate and the back of the tongue. I'm picking up the bitterness, but not very much, just a hint. Up front it tastes like caramel, toffee, coffee, malt. I think it's a very good beer, to tell you the truth. Alright. It definitely has some CO2 in it. I don't know, it must be the beer glass. So I'm going to do a little experiment, which is going to require me to open another one of these bad boys up. Which incidentally, this beer is very well priced. At the time of the making of this video, $10.99 for a beer with this much character and malt in it is a very good price. And this comes from southern Pennsylvania. I live in central New York. So northeastern beer, but I think you can get this beer. I don't know the availability of it, but I think you can get this beer quite a few places. I mean, Troy Brewery, they like to say that they're a microbrewery. They are not. I mean, their revenue was $21 million last year. That is not a microbrewery. I know they like the image to make them feel like they're doing a craft beer, but I gotta tell you, I'm quite impressed with this beer. And I forgot to see how cold it is, which also would have something to do with the CO2. Okay, here's another flower vase that I rescued that I think should have been it's a beer glass. It's not a flower vase. Alright, so it's very funky, a very happy looking beer glass. I'm not losing my mind, I hope. I'm just having fun, honestly. Alright, let's see if this looks foamier in this. And it does. It does, indeed. It does. The head does show more on the glass, so it must be, this is like a brandy snifter, honestly. A brandy snifter. And it's probably what it was, I don't know. It's whatever you want it to be. But same beer in this glass, and it's got a foamy head to it. So it's a glass. I didn't know that till now, that the glass can have something to do with the head on the beer. But I gotta tell you something, I really like this beer a lot. A lot. And the price is nice. Let's see how cold it is. That dog ate well. Oh, that would turn it on, wouldn't it? I think you can see it. That's my set temperature. So the temperature of the beer is going to be on this side. I'm pretty sure you can see it. So I'll let you. What is it? I can't see. All right. All right. There we go. It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And for my friends who don't live in New York City, or New York City, that don't live in America, there's the Celsius. 4 degrees Celsius at this point. 39 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, metric is a more accurate system, except in temperature. Our temperature. 212 degrees makes boiling, but 100 degrees Celsius makes boiling. So ours is more than twice, Fahrenheit's more than twice as precise in that regard. Fahrenheit, German word, 2 words actually. Fahren, oh God, what's it mean? How far something goes. Height can mean a lot of things. I wish I just looked it up, but it's 2 words, Fahrenheit. Well, I guess it's 39 degrees. Enough of that, back to the beer, and I got to wrap this beer review up. I tend to go on too long with these, I really do. Oh God, a dog. Oh, God. I gotta rate that dog just let go behind me. And I think that's got to be one of the stinkiest smells I've ever encountered. Alright, let me get back to this brew. This is very good. I definitely will buy this again, God willing, you know. If you like Bock beer, if you like beer, right now I highly recommend this beer. And I would say, if you want to drink it out of a brandy snifter, which I think this is what this is, I don't know. Maybe it really is a flower vase. I don't know. But it was listed as a used flower vase on eBay for $14. I got it, the shipping was I got it for almost $30. Actually, the shipping cost more than the mug glass. $33 delivered. And this rescued repurposed flower vase, which I like a lot. It's very thick. It's like a paperweight. Both of these are very heavy, handmade. This baby, I got this for like next to nothing, like $8. So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. If you like to collect beer glasses and you like unusual beer glasses, look at flower vases. Just type in hand-blown clear glass vase. And you know, the people that make these things, they use a great deal of artistic license that they wouldn't use making a beer glass. It's a flower vase. It's supposed to look happy, artsy. Put flowers in it. And these make good beer glasses, honestly. This thing's very heavy. I like this a lot. When I saw this thing on eBay, I just went, oh yes, I gotta have it, right? I mean, there's thousands of them on there, under hand-blown or just blown glass vase, clear. And most of them, obviously, I wouldn't, you know, they're not, but now and then you find one. Maybe every 1 out of 100, you know, I'll check out. And maybe these are the only 2 I've bought. So I did a beer review with this one. Let me get to the bottom of this thing. This is strong beer and it's very full-bodied. All right, I forgot to mention that. It's a very full-bodied beer. It's got a lot of malt in it. And the Munich malt that they put in here won't ferment out, I'm pretty sure. The Munich malt gives the beer body. It doesn't ferment out like the 6-row barley. 6-row barley, they call it Pilsner barley, but it's 6-row barley. 2-row barley is for ales and stouts. 6-row barley is for Pilsners and lagers. That would make up the majority of this. But the Munich malt definitely gives this thing a lot of character. Munich malt will give a beer body and sweetness, which I taste in this. And the chocolate malt greatly gives it its color. And I might say they did a very good job on this. Oh, God. Puppy, please. Oh, he's right underneath the table here. Oh. My eyes are burning. Ooh. What are they? What did you eat? A burrito? They had rice. I think he had rice and pork. Oh, pal, you're killing me. That's got to be one of... If I ever smell like that, I better be dead. Yeah, that is awful. He probably thinks it's a masterpiece, you know? What's up, Tim? That's a gift. I just gave you a gift. With dogs, the stinkier, the better. Ah, this is one of my candles I made. Malfunctioning. Oh, it's these wicks. The candle's fine. These are made out of paraffin with blue dye. The wicks don't work at all, and I'm going to have to get different wicks, lest it catches my plastic flowers on fire. Oh, gotta tell you, I'm kind of feeling this. I know most of you don't drink beer that watch this channel, and I gotta tell you, hopefully I'm not going to be working this night job a whole lot longer. I'm very grateful for the job. It's a very good job, honestly. But I'm an old man, and I don't particularly care for night hours. I'm really just so exhausted. I haven't played guitar or accordion or sang. I sing at work sometimes. I'm going to sing for you on St. Patrick's Day, a cappella. Oh my God. A song that my son Kyle suggested I cover. A song I know well, and you do too, I'm sure. So, I just haven't been playing guitar, or I've got a wonderful accordion. One of the best. That thing's worth like $4,000. You know, I looked it up. You know, it's used, but some people say it's one of the best accordions you can find on the planet, and I've got it. And I thank my old college professor, Dr. Carla Always, who gifted me with this accordion this past year. And I really feel guilty that I haven't been playing it more because it's a really fantastic instrument. If I ever find the time, you know, I will find the time. I go back to work tomorrow and tomorrow night. If I had to work tomorrow day, I wouldn't be doing this. Not there, no way. Ooh. Ugh. Well, I just made a mess of myself. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. This is very, very, very good beer. I would give it out of 5 stars. I can't find any fault with it. I would say I would find fault because it doesn't have any head on it or lacing, but that's because of the glass. Honestly, for a Doppelbock beer, I don't know how you could get a better beer than this. This is better than the German stuff. I did a beer review of my son on one of those earlier this year, and this is better than that. And this is brewed right here in the USA, Pennsylvania. What would I give this? 5 stars? I don't know. Let's break it down. Color, I give the color 5 stars. Definitely. To look at it, the appearance, 5 stars. For me, my preference. The head on it, the carbonation, honestly, another 5 stars at 4 or 5. I give it 4.5. I'd like to see a little more lacing, but that's not really fair because of the glass I'm using. The taste is, for Doppelbock, it's the best I've had. And I've had the German ones. I even went to Germany. And someday maybe I'll make videos and I'll talk about some of my trips overseas when I was in my 30s, early 30s to mid 30s, where I used to fly military flights, and I go to Britain or to Germany with one purpose: to drink their beer. And I had some adventures, to tell you the truth, and I might share some of that. I've had their beers, and this is favorable, honestly, to my memory. I actually like this better. Sorry, es tut mir leid. Das ist alles. Yeah, I'm very sorry, that's all I can say. You know, but ich bin ehrlich, I'm honest. Dieser Bier has den besten geschmeckt. Ehrlich zu sein, dieser Bier ist die besten für Doppelbock beer. This is the best Doppelbock beer, to be totally honest with you. I just said in German. Ehrlich zu sein, this is the best Doppelbock beer I've had. So I would give this like a 4.8. I highly recommend. And the price, I've told before, if this stuff was like 17, this is overpriced. They lose a few points for overpricing their beer, because I know what goes in beer. You know, when you see expensive beer, it's not because the ingredients cost more. No way at all. They're just being greedy, snobby. It's like, well, we're charging you an arm and a leg for our beer because it has snob appeal, because it's expensive. No, this beer is very good. Highly recommend this beer. Very delighted with it. Oh my God, it's very good. It looks flat in this glass, but it's not flat. This glass holds the CO2 in it. I don't know why. The shape and size of the vessel, somebody with some more physics smarts than me could explain it. As opposed to this, smaller, you can see that it still has, and look at the head still holding up on this. It's still holding up. So it does have good head on this carbonate of foam, you know. I'm feeling this beer, but I haven't eaten much. I haven't eaten much at all today. And I gotta get to the bottom of this so I can end this video. This is 2 beers in this. This is a very strong beer, very filling beer. Oh, yeah, it's very good. Sehr gut, sehr gut. Oh my gosh, beer talk. I used to be almost fluent in German a long time ago. I haven't had any cause to use it. But I had a German man tell me a couple of years ago, and I was speaking German to him, and he says, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Do what?" You know. He says, "How do you say that?" I says, "What?" He says, "You speak German without an accent." So, you know, when I was in Germany, actually, I learned most of my German in Berlin. And their dialect is a little different, just like in America. Like southern Germany, Bavarian, where they say ein Bock instead of ein Beck. And somebody said that I spoke German with a Berlin accent, which was kind of flattering because that's where I spoke it mostly. So it tells me that I was reproducing the sounds of the language well. I'm not saying I'm really good at I think if I spent 2 weeks in Germany again, I'd be almost fluent again, but there's no cause. What are you going to use German language for? I mean, my dear friend Angel, she's moved on. I really have no cause to use the language anymore. Translate war movies. It's all, half the people on the war movies that you see, the German soldiers on war movies, their German is so bad you could tell they're not German, they're just extras. You know, American or British or whoever they are. But when you hear them speak German, a lot of them, you can tell that if you speak German, you can tell that they're not actual German people. Puppy, come on. Come on! This dog has actually ruined a couple of videos to the effect that I didn't post them with his pestering me. I'm going to chain you up outside. Keep it up. Oh, God. I will say this is not a beer I would drink a lot of. It's very filling. Alles getan. It's done. Then alles getan. Troegnator beer. When your day is done, have a Troegnator. Now I gotta drink this. This is extremely filling. I will tell you, this is a very, very good beer. If you want a German beer done extremely well here in America, right here, Troegnator, Troeg Brewery, and my dog just let go again. You're gagging me, man. That would gag a maggot. Oh. Basset Hound. He's a Basset Hound. I share a house with a Basset Hound. Honestly, I might do a dog review on my dog. He's a hound dog, and honestly, I don't think they belong in a house. I think they belong in a... he wouldn't be able to weather the cold weather out here. The dog's from France. Their Basset is part of an old French dialect that means short, and he's a short hound dog. He stinks. I mean, he is a fart factory. Bubble-butted fart factory. Beef-eating, beef-farting, bubble-butted fart factory. That's what you are, puppy. And I've got to call it a night. It's kind of late. And I will tell you, Troeg Breweries, Troegnator Dopplebocks is a beer. If you like beer, you should get this beer. And get yourself a good glass, a clear glass, because you're going to want to look at this and appreciate it. Because it's a very, very good beer to look at. It's got a nice color to it. Get it really cold and have a couple. It's a very filling beer. It's a strong beer. Actually, I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of feeling this. And it's a pretty strong beer. I don't know why, but this beer really reports right to the headquarters. That's what we used to say when I was in the Army. If a drink got you drunk, you know, or you felt it, you'd say it reported straight to headquarters. This beer reports to headquarters straight. I was thinking about telling a story. I was thinking about telling some Army stories. I parachuted into the subarctic triangle. That was kind of interesting. In February. It was extremely cold. That's a pretty interesting story. I think. My Alaska adventures with the paratroopers. There's, aside from freezing and being out and learning survival skills in the Arctic, When we weren't in the Arctic, we were in bars drinking, if we could get to one. So I might tell my Alaska stories. If one of you says you want to hear it, I'll tell about Alaska. But I'll have a beer when I'm telling it. And another thing, I used to go camping in the winter, the dead of winter, alone in upstate New York, just to get out and get in touch with nature. And maybe I'll tell about that. There's something, you think of the forest and natural beauty. You think of the summer around here with the flowers and everything's green, but and full of life. But in the winter, things are either gone or they're hibernating, and animals are still out. But there's no sound of leaves rustling. If you get out in the woods in the winter, it is very, very quiet. Very quiet. And cold, but you can overcome that. And I used to like to go camping in the winter, in the snow, and just to experience the silence of the night. It's very, very quiet. So, I don't know what made me think, Alaska. That was too cold. Got down to 63 below zero when I was outdoors, living outdoors. All right, this has kind of loosened up, oiled the jaw hinges here a bit. All right, I'm gonna say goodnight and buy this beer if you like beer. If you can find it, buy it, get it really cold, serve it in a nice glass, clear glass, light a candle, and mellow out and enjoy it. It's very good beer.